Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
If you don't know what a bbox is and you're interested, keep watching. You'll find out everything.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient. Gary, if I were to say to you, bpost boutique, I think that's how you pronounce it in Flamand, or boutique en français, what would that tell you?
Though we probably read in the same article, Marek, for once, I do actually know what you're on about. This is this idea of the bpost have got of, basically acquiring shop premises and stuffing it full of lockers and other parcel-y type equipment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully our editor will be able to show a photo here or wherever it's going to be on the video. But yeah, it's exactly that. I've seen something similar in Poland with InPost.
We've seen it in Helsinki with the Finnish Post, where they've taken a shop inside a shopping mall and made a kind of unmanned locker-based post office.
And also, I remember, I think it was about, must be 3 or 4 years ago at Parcel and Post Expo, I saw a really big next-gen post office from Austrian Post, which was actually this on steroids because it had loads of other bits and bobs, but it was the same sort of idea. So what do you think about it?
I think we could probably spend 7 minutes listing out all this, because my brain's going, oh yeah, hang on a minute, that's a bit, yeah, I've thought of like a few of them. This idea comes around. I think it's a marketing gimmick. I think it is a great way of like getting your brand out there. We're talking about it. The industry press have been talking about it. There's probably been local coverage in Belgium as well. Yeah, I think these are kind of like flagship locations, draw a bit of attention to your brand. Yeah, never a bad thing. But in terms of mass rollout, mass appeal, I think you take the cost-saving element of a locker and then you just make it expensive again by putting it inside a bit of real estate.
So maybe for our audience's benefit, generally you've got the lockers that you can see. There's a few benches and things, and apparently the idea is that it's going to be available for events, for promotions, for people to keep short-term stock. So a lot of sort of...
Will they be doing weddings and christenings in there perhaps? I mean, it's they've got to raise the money to pay for that rent for that building somehow.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting. Can you imagine a wedding and the presents come via locker? You pick them up from the locker inside. So actually, you're not so far off a good idea.
No, exactly. You give the mother to be a QR code. She scanned it. The door opened. It's a boy in a brown box. It just goes on, doesn't it? Really.
I have to remember that one, Gary, for when I'm recording an April Fool's video. But listen, on a serious note, though, let's maybe look at the plus side. So the plus side is, yes, it's convenient. You've got loads of lockers in one place. You theoretically have many potential use cases. It's relatively secure, clean, nice, looks pretty cool. But I think, have I missed anything on the...
No, I mean, if I look at like it at maturity, I was in Helsinki two years ago, 18 months ago. The guys from Smart Mile showed me this similar thing that Finnish Post had done. I think there were 500 locker compartments inside this room, you went through a shop door. It was a sea of locker doors. It had benches, it had scales, it had places to pack. It had kind of kiosk type stuff for doing dimensioning and labeling. So it was like an automated post office. Later have a couple in Canada. There's one in Ottawa, one in Toronto, where it's a combination of kiosk, locker, drop off, all unmanned. Generally speaking, with the right throughput, they're a great idea if you can get the usage out of them. And it always comes back to that. But if bpost, I know lockers are pretty popular in the bpost world. If they feel that they can get sufficient transactions through that, then happy days. On the negative side, this is what the Doddle business model was, taking on high-profile shop premises, paying big money for leases, and trying to do parcels over the counter there. And that model has gone the way of history.
With one caveat, what I think is the redeeming feature, I didn't see any people there, because one of the biggest cost factors is staff. And from what I could see, there are no people there. So that's perhaps what sort of gives it the edge over the traditional model. I'm with you. I think that it does make sense as a show point or a reference point, maybe a couple across the country. But I believe that probably in 99.9% of cases, a normal outside large locker is going to serve the purpose equally well.
Yeah, the only other thing that just while we're talking now, just crosses my mind is, I don't know what it's like in Poland or in Spain or where you have your many homes, but if you go down the UK high street, it's a wasteland. In some towns, 25, 30, 45, even 50% of retail premises are unoccupied. We've got a mixture of charity shops, vape shops, betting shops, coffee shops, and it's like a smile with missing teeth on the high street. It's ugly. Now, if this could be a way to get these retail units back into use, and whoever owns them, rents them, typically the local government, local council does, can do it at a sensible rate. Maybe this is another way to drive a bit of high street footfall. If you look at it from outside of our little world, what's the effect on that community by just taking their retail premises over, which may have otherwise potentially been empty and abandoned?
And I think that's a really good point, Gary. So, re-energizing the high street, and you do see a lot of empty premises. So this means it will get people to go to the high street to pick up their parcel and maybe at the same time visit the shop next door. Then that makes
Well, hopefully not to buy vapes and put £10 each way on Dobbin in the 330, because that's not there's no shortage of that activity on the high street. But if it does bring consumers, fashion consumers, people with money in their pocket to spend on quality stuff and are looking for a good experience, then perhaps. But yeah, we don't know at this point.
Well, look, let's see what our audience think. Have they seen any good examples like this? Like you, I've seen the material in Canada that Purolator have got. InPost has got something similar, and so on. Maybe someone's had a really good example of something that works like this. Also, be great to have comments on, whether this is a good idea or not. Very interested. Let's see. As usual, Gary, great talking. Looking forward to some comments on this one.
Yeah, let's hope people cough up some interest.
Gary, I was looking at the subscriptions and realized that a huge number of our audience actually don't subscribe to watch our videos.
Really? That's outrageous. It's a bit like watching the BBC without your TV license. How can we keep it free if people aren't subscribing and letting us know they want more of this content? It's ridiculous.
And on top of that, if they're not subscribed, they don't get information about the latest hot episode where you can make one of your witty jokes and we can talk about something that is really important for our industry.
If I knew that a single act like that would make sure I got maximum time taking the mickey out of you, I'd be hitting subscribe in a heartbeat.
Well, look, so here we have it. Please, everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your opportunity. Click right now. The button should be there, or maybe there. Do it now and have it done.